This mind map explores how memory develops, strengthens, and changes throughout a person's lifetime. The timeline follows an individual from infancy throughout to older adulthood and demonstrates both the growth of memory and the ways it can become distorted over time. The journey begins in infancy, where the key concept is infantile amnesia. This refers to our inability to remember events from the first 3 to 4 years of our life. Although infants are capable of learning, very few autobiographical memories are retained because the brain structures involved in long-term memory are still developing. As children grow, memory begins to develop through acquisition, where new information enters the memory system. Information is first briefly held in the sensory memory before moving into working memory, where it's actively processed. During this stage, children are particularly vulnerable to suggestibility, leading to questions or repeated suggestions can influence how a child remembers an event, sometimes causing details to be altered or added. During teenage years, memory becomes stronger and more organized. Chunking allows information to be grouped into meaningful units, while elaborative rehearsal strengthens memory by linking new information to existing knowledge. Encoding specifically suggests that memories are easier to retrieve when conditions during recall are similar to those present in the memory was formed. However, teenagers can still experience false memories, where events are remembered differently from how they actually occurred. In young adulthood, memory performance is often at its peak through long-term potentiation. Repeated activation of neurons strengthens neural connections, helping create lasting memories. Information is stored in long-term memory, including episodic memory for personal experiences, semantic memory for facts and knowledge, and procedural memory for skills and actions. At this stage, individuals may also experience flashbulb memories, which are vivid memories of emotionally significant events. Although these memories feel highly accurate, research shows they can still contain errors over time. During adulthood, people rely heavily on recall and recognition to retrieve information. Recall involves remembering information without cues, while recognition involves identifying information when cues are provided. However, adults may experience source monitoring confusion, where they remember information but forget where it originally came from. Finally, in older adulthood, recall often becomes more difficult, while recognition and accumulated knowledge frequently remain strong. At this stage, memory can become more vulnerable to distortion through the misinformation effect, where new or misleading information changes a person's memory of a past event. This mind map demonstrates that memory is not a perfect recording of our experiences. Instead, it develops throughout life and becomes stronger through learning and experience, and remains vulnerable to distortion and reconstruction at every stage of our life.